Two things I want to light or just point out here. First, the glory of God. Right? This showed the power of God over the Egyptians. No question. Their whole massive, strongest crack army destroyed, out of the way. Historically, Egypt is never going to recover from this. Never going to recover. This is the end for them, basically. Their time as a superpower is going to go down the drain. They will be overrun by the people from the south. The Kush ultimately will rule over them. After that, the Babylonians are going to come. The Medo-Persians are going to come. The Greeks are going to come. Egypt is done for. Here, they're done for. But this point will come out in the second one. The glory of God shone forth. The effect of that on the people, fear in the hearts of the people. Wow, what a God, right? God didn't take them through there, so they would have to fight against smaller nations and smaller battles, lost some people, and then like moan about going back. No, God is going to show them, bring them to here, lead them out of slavery, and they need to walk through here. Okay, and this is not now the idea of, okay, God already set them free, God gave them a heart, now they need to make a choice. Are we going to go walk through this Red Sea, or are we going to turn back? They had no turning back, right? That song of, I have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. Yesterday in the car, driving back, I asked the guy if he knows that this song actually comes from Nagaland. And the whole idea is because of this person who converted to Christianity, and then when the others came and told him, you need to give up your Christianity. If you don't give up, you don't deny Christ, we're going to kill you. And you have time to think about it. He thought about it, and he just said, and ultimately, I've decided to follow Jesus. There's no turning back. So he's not going to deny. That's not to do with salvation. That song has nothing to do with salvation. This guy's already saved, and that is why he's not turning back from being saved. He's not turning back from denying Christ. He's not going to deny Christ. Okay, so that is an important point there just to make. So this is not a question. They had no way back. There was not a way back. They were already, God did all the miracles to lead them out of Egypt. Okay, so there's no turning back for them. They only could go through. So did they make the choice? They were forced into that choice. Irresistible grace kind of idea, right? God forced them. They were forced. Pharaoh in this case, behind them. They were forced to go forward. No other way. That death or that. Okay, and that's pretty simple, straightforward. So they went through, and all the Egyptians were killed. So the fear ultimately that brought forth. No, it's not going to last very long, this fear. Unluckily, soon they're going to groan and moan, build a golden calf. The other thing that is standing out here is just why did God do this? And that is I would say, the miraculous part, or the part that I don't think I've ever heard in the Sunday school, or even heard a sermon on the why God did this way. Now, for me, it kind of all makes sense, right? So, for example, they had the choice, go up the Mediterranean, encountering other people. With their mass of people, they might have survived a few fights, but since they were not prepared for any kind of fight, they would have lost a lot of people in the process. A win here, a win there, but a huge loss, and in general, just losing. And they might have been ultimately destroyed in the process. The other option is, even if winning the battles, and they didn't enter that land. But remember, Pharaoh, Egypt, the superpower of the day, they had their tentacles all over the place. Those people in those areas were under Egypt, and so they were serving. So all Pharaoh could do was send his messengers and tell those guys, okay, let them come back. So they were caught between Egypt, the strong army on this side, the lesser armies on that side, but still armies that kind of align with Egypt. Okay, so even if they won a few wars there, fought a few battles there, Pharaoh could have come any single day and just picked them out, one by one, 100 by 100, 1,000 by 1,000, till they had to submit and go back to Egypt and work as slaves. It would have been so easy. So how to solve this problem? How could God solve this problem by taking the Egyptians out of the equation? Easy. Drown them all. Right? So send them there. It's for their sake. And now, the glory of God, all of these things are going to play, but on a political, on a world, on a point, from a world point of view, God is going to drown the whole Egyptian army, the main force, the mainstay of Egypt, of their strength, is going to drown them in the Red Sea. And when they are drowned, now they can't follow after the Egyptians. They would need to rebuild first their forces so that afterwards they will be able to then force their way onto the people in Egypt and in Israel and then get the people back. It would have taken so long, and that time the Israelites got stronger, they had their own army and they would be able to resist. But even worse, Pharaoh's, the one firstborn is killed in the last plague, so he can't take over. The second one, most likely, maybe not that prepared for being Pharaoh. Now the father, Pharaoh's out of the picture, his main army is out of the picture. Well, they would just turn back on themselves to try and recover first in themselves. As I've explained, then problems going to come from the south, and ultimately they will not be able to stand against these and will be overrun by the south. And now the people are free. The only powers in front of them are lesser powers, not the mighty of the superpower of the day, but the lesser powers. Okay, today's language is maybe to say America is out of the pictures now, it's just facing Europe or their armies, nothing else anymore to fear, basically. Well, sure, fear them a little bit, but not as strong as. So I hope you can understand this wisdom of God in how taking out those people by ensuring that the Israelites in the desert. I mean, 40 years they're going to be in the desert. How easy is it going to be for the next Pharaoh to just come and pick them out there? But since they're gone, since they're out of the way, there is now a time for them to be there in the desert and be formed into a nation. Brilliant strategy on God's part. Brilliant, brilliant strategy. I don't think we would have come up with this, but it's brilliant strategy on God's part. I've been like thinking of, I remember I listened to these lectures on church history and how they were speaking about that we as Protestants actually need to thank the Muslims for our existence, that there are Protestant churches. Why? Because during after the Reformation, the Counter-Reformation that followed, the Roman Catholics killed lots of the Protestants. I know some of my family comes from the Huguenots in France. I know what that means. And they were getting the soldiers together to, they kicked the Reformed people out of Poland, out of Czechia and Slovakia. You know, you're not going to use the Roman Catholic world. That nearly out of all of Hungary, not a lot of Reformed people left there either, but there's some left. The Protestants, that is, in that sense, they were the strongest movement, not so much the Lutherans. And yeah, they were coming for Switzerland and Germany and the Lutherans and Zurich and Geneva, and they would have destroyed it all, and we would all have been Roman Catholic. And but what happened then? The Muslims came, and there, as a force, came up against the Christendom of the West, Europe. So Europe needed, the Roman Catholics needed the Lutheran princes of Germany to fight with them against us, or they're going to be, all of that, destroyed. So they had to make peace with the Protestants in what was left of them. So to not fight, to go and focus on the Muslims down there and get some of the princes to fight with them. And actually that is then how the Protestants survived. So in this case, it's the same kind of thing happening. Perfect wisdom on God's side, from God's point of view. It's just brilliant. So if you think of how God, it's not just for their sake, so there's no reason to moan and groan, to see God, to fear God, for the glory of God to shine through, but as well to take away that danger, right? There's selfie danger zone up there, to take away the danger of the Egyptians just picking them off one by one when they're there in the desert for 40 years, going to go backwards and forwards. God, the brilliant strategist, there is, and I hope you can as well understand then the political reasons and the wisdom in what happened in this chapter. It's just not a chapter that ought to be taught in Bible school or in Sunday school, but it needs to be told in this way as well, that the children can see, and the people in church, in the sermons, can see how God really did this in a way that was not. They did not understand. Why the heck? I'm standing here between the sea and Pharaoh. Why? But God had the perfect plan and he brought it to fruition. Praise God. Again, with his beauty here, all we can say is say it so many times, soli Deo gloria.